Kevin O'Leary is the investor known as Mr. Wonderful on ABC's Shark Tank and the man who orchestrated the $3.7 billion sale of the learning company to Mattel in 1999. He went from being fired from his job at an ice cream parlor on his first day to become a venture capital mogul with an estimated net worth of $400 million. And this is our take on his top 10 rules of success. Need motivation?
Watch the top 10 on Motivation Nation.
Believe Nation.
Oh, Believe Nation. Okay. All right, here we go.
Need motivation?
Watch the top 10 on Believe Nation.
If you've been here before, drop a hashtag Believe in the comments below so I can feature you here in a future video. And if you're new, welcome to Believe Nation, the only channel that helps you believe in yourself daily, one video at a time. Believe. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Implement the 80-20 rule.
There are a couple of things that you must achieve to be successful, and let me explain what they would be. And this is not some academic study. This is real data from real situations of real CEOs I've worked with and learned from, because I used to work for guys like Steve Jobs and others in my career. Let me give you one that I think is very important. We'll start with this one. I used to work for Steve Jobs in the early 90s, making all of his educational software. I mean, it was just, oh, there they are. My goodness, you guys do good research. Those are the kind of things that we did for him, you know. Yeah, all of that. It's hard to find. Those are CD-ROMs. But, you know, in developing that software, we used to go quarterly. Heidi Rosen was there in the room. She's still a very famous venture capitalist. And I would say, Steve, you know, we got to do some market research on Oregon Trail. I mean, it's a huge title. It's in 110,000 school buildings. We got to do an update. It's going to cost you 12, 15 million bucks. We want to find out what the students want. We want to find out what the teachers want. We want to find out what the parents want. Steve would say, by the way, not a nice guy. Not a nice guy. He would say to a room full of people, Kevin, I don't give a shit what the students want or the parents think or anybody thinks. It's what I want. They don't know what they want till I tell them what they want. And I said, Steve, you sound like such an asshole. You have no idea what that sounds like. He says, no, that's how it is, Kevin. Now, are you making money with me? Am I your fastest growing OEM? Have we not been wildly successful and continue to be? I said, yes, Steve, that's true. He said, then shut up and do what I say.
That's how he would talk to you?
100%. And here's what I learned. Look how wildly successful he was. But here's why. There's a concept that he understood that very few people focused on back then in the early 90s of signal-to-noise ratio. What was so brilliant about Jobs that I tell every CEO now, and I don't care if you're an S&P 500 CEO or you're just starting a business, his vision of signal was the top 3 to 5 things you have to get done in the next 18 hours. Not your vision for the business next week or next month or next year, just the next 18 hours you're awake. You're going to get those 3 things or those 5 things done that you have deemed critical for your mission. They must get done today. Anything that stops you from doing that is the noise. So this signal-to-noise ratio to be successful for Steve Jobs was 80-20. 80 signal, 20 noise. And I knew that to be true with him because he would email me at 2:30 in the morning, expect me to get back to him, because back then we didn't have texts, it was all email. He was right. He was right. And the only other person that I've seen that has a higher ratio than that is Elon Musk. He has no noise. He does not deal with noise. He is 100% signal, 24 seconds, every cycle. I mean, the guy is just 60 seconds of every minute, 60 minutes of every hour. The 18 hours he's awake, it's all signal. And look what he's achieved. Now, it's very awkward for him socially because noise is dealing with your family sometimes, or noise is saying hi to a friend, or noise is listening to some doom scrolling on, some social media app that just takes your mind, or maybe playing your guitar. But very few people on earth, and if you go back in history, you're going to find out that the geniuses of their time were close to 100% signal.
Rule number 2, understand your weaknesses.
No one is perfect in all aspects of business.
You have to hire to fulfill or fill in. It's like a crack in the wall you put plaster on. You have to find and understand your own weaknesses and hire people that are strong in that attribute and give them equity in your business, make them your partner. It's sort of like Steve Jobs and Wozniak. I worked for those guys in the early 90s. They were both brilliant, but they had completely different skill sets. They couldn't have made it without each other. It was impossible. But it's because they had that partnership, and they were able to build it together, knowing they couldn't do it without each other. You will find out what you're weak at by the time you hit 5. You may start it on your own and be just the sole proprietor, own all the shares, but your cracks will start to show at 5 million. Now, it might be in logistics, it might be in compliance, it might be in accounting, it might, whatever it is, you have to hire the person that's going to take that off your back so you can focus on your strengths. I'm sales and marketing. In that I trust. Very few people are better than I am at that. And that's arrogant, but I know I'm right. And so that's my competitive weapon. You can't touch me. But I am at logistics. I don't care about worrying about the bookkeeping. I want someone else that knows what they're doing to do that. Manufacturing, distribution, all that crap. To me, the only reason those people exist is to serve my needs as the sales guy. There are no widgets if I'm not selling them. So I value the salesperson the head of sales is more valuable to me than the CEO. I can always replace the CEO, but I can't replace a great saleswoman or a great salesman because they know not only their product inside out, they know their distribution channel, they have relationships with their buyers or whatever it is. It's all about sales. And so, when I go to evaluate a company, there's only 2 people I want to talk to before the CEO. I want to meet the person running social media, and I want to meet the head of sales. And I take them out for dinner separately. We drink really good wine on my tab. Everything goes better with a couple of bottles of wine. You're going to learn a lot more. And then I know 2 things: what the sales distribution channel feels like and CAC and ROAS, customer acquisition costs and return on ad spend. Just those 2 people will tell you, is this a good business or not?
Rule number 3, navigate the ups and downs.
You need the yin and yang in your mind to make correct decisions. It doesn't mean it takes you off the signal. The signal is you got to get stuff done. But how do you live your life? And so I spend a fair amount of my time practicing my guitar or working with my photography or my watch. Tonight, very late tonight, I will meet a master watchmaker, and we will deal with the design of a new piece unique he's going to make for me. And I'm going to love that moment. That's going to be something completely different to what I did all day long. And we'll start our journey together over the next 2 years to make this piece unique. And that's something that just takes me away from all the that I'm going to be dealing with today. And I also tell successful entrepreneurs, in the same day, you will get this happened to me today. It happens every day. You're going to get a call from some aspect of your, what you do, you call it your empire, whatever you want, where this company's going bankrupt. It's just going to go bankrupt. And you're going to lose, I don't know, $10 million on that deal. And that's a piece of information you're dealing with. Half an hour later, this actually happened to me today. One of my companies is going public. It's a 450x for me. The stock will get unlocked sometime in the fall. But how do you fit that together? Utter catastrophe, destruction, woe, loss, utter euphoria. Half an hour later. That's what my life is like.
That's entrepreneurship, obviously on a different scale for most founders.
Well, the founders deal with the same thing. They get disastrous news. They lose an account like a Costco or something if it's consumer goods or service, and they get something else. The ebb and flow is the management of expectations, and your ability emotionally to navigate those ups and downs is part of what entrepreneurship is.
Rule number 4, don't focus on the money.
The whole thing about money that a lot of people don't understand, you're going to find this out as time passes, and only the experience of going through it gives you the knowledge, because nobody believes this when, if you're an entrepreneur and you can sell $100,000 of the product to people that are not your relatives, that's the first thing, because your aunt will always buy your from you.
Yeah.
But that's useless. You got to sell it to an arm's length person who wants the product and the service independent of the fact that they want to help you. They want to be served a product that helps reduce a pain point for them, and they're willing to pay you money for it. If you can do 100,000 of that, you can do 500,000. If you can do 500,000, you can do 5 million. If you do 5 million, you can do 50. If you do 50 million, you can do $500 million. That's how it goes. But at the 5 million point, that's when the whole system tests you, because you need to be able to build a team. You need to transition from being the entrepreneur to the leader.
Yeah.
And many fail at that point. And I see this when I invest in them. And I have to take them behind the barn and whack them eventually. They're still shareholders, but they don't have the leadership skills, the ability to lead people so that you can get the leverage to build a business past 5 million. But really what's driving you, if you're going to do that, is you're competitive and you want to win. And I never thought about ever the money when we were doing the journey on my big exit, the learning company. Neither did the other 9 guys that were sort of founders.
Yeah.
We just one day woke up and someone bought our company for $4.2 billion, and we were all, filthy rich. And that didn't change anything. We still went back to work the next day. It's weird, but it just doesn't matter. It's great to have the liquidity, but it doesn't really change your life that much. And so people should understand that it's all you really need in the bank to be secure for the rest of your life is $5 million. And I tell every entrepreneur that go well past that, the discipline is get 5 million and put it in T-bills and just look at it. It's just sitting there and don't touch it, because if poo-poo hits the fan, you're still good.
What are T-bills in case people don't know?
Treasury bills, U.S. Treasury bills. You can also buy gold, but it doesn't have any yield. I have T-bills. I roll a bunch of T-bills. That's my Q account.
Also, if you want to take real action after this video, I made a free worksheet just for you. It covers the top lessons from today, gives you space to write your biggest takeaways, and helps you build a simple action plan. It's 100% free. Just click the link in the description to go grab it. I'll see you there. Rule number 5, focus on listening.
When you look at least my experience over decades of making these nascent, these early stage investments, these A-round investments, remarkably, and I've done them in all 11 sectors of the economy, the majority of the successes 5 to 7 years later are companies run by women. Why is that? Why is that? And so they don't know each other. They're in different sectors. They never meet each other. Why is that? And I have come to the conclusion, 2 things. They set goals that they can achieve so that in the early stage of their businesses, they put growth rate targets like 15, 16% versus men at 30% very often. Men hit their targets 65% of the time, at least my portfolio, and women 90+% of the time. And that keeps the team very sticky. They want to be part of so they don't have a lot of attrition when they're small. They don't lose the head of finance and marketing. And that works. But they have another attribute, and this was pointed out to me by one of my female CEOs a few years ago to me. She said, Kevin, you talk too much. You talk too much. You talk 2/3, you listen 1/3. Why don't you try reversing the ratio?
She said that to you?
Yeah. I'm very thankful, actually, because I tried it. And she's right. If you don't talk and you listen, you become far more effective as a manager or an investor, in my case, by getting information that you weren't going to get by talking. And so if you go into a room, I just did this a few minutes ago before I came here. I'm involved in a litigation, and we decided to attempt settlement talks, which is why I was a few minutes late. And, we knew we were going in there to settle. And it's long protruded, it's a long litigation. And I remembered her as we sat at the table like this. There were other people in the room, but the two, we were across from each other. I just looked at him. I didn't say anything. For a long time. And it gets uncomfortable and no one else is talking. just looking. And maybe after 90 seconds, he blurted out something he shouldn't have said. And I knew exactly what the price was right there. That was the end of it.
Rule number 6, pivot.
You're saying like, don't, get too excited about the highs. Don't go so down when there's anything bad happening in the lows. So for new entrepreneurs, that's really difficult. Like entrepreneurship, sometimes it can feel like you're just getting punched in the face over and over again. And sometimes it can be really good. But how can we better manage those highs and lows? What advice do you have?
It's important that you get punched in the face. It's important that you get bloodied and get knocked down multiple times. It will never be an easy ride, ever, no matter what you think. And no matter what you think your plan is, it won't be that works. It just never is. And so really what the punch in the face is teaching you is how to pivot. And the more you get beaten to a pulp, the better it gets, because you start to realize, if I go in that direction, I'm getting another smack right in the face. I'm going to go in this direction. It's less painful. It's sort of trying to figure out the path of least resistance based on your experiences of what didn't work. But I have never met anybody that's been successful, ever, that said it was easy, that ever said they were able to take their original business plan and execute on it, because that never, ever, ever happens, or didn't go through hell on earth to get to where they are.
Rule number 7, experiment.
If you're spending money on marketing, are you constantly experimenting with new ideas? So I've always said to my companies, I want a third of marketing to be experimental every quarter. Because if you're just sitting on your laurels doing the same old crap, you're missing out and your competitors are going to do something else. So start experimenting, because the value of something that works, that you find through just creative chaos, is extremely higher than what you've already been doing, because you start losing yields right away. Whatever your strategy is, and let's say you're getting a 2% response on it, watch, 6 months from now, it'll be 1.7 or 1.5. What's the next thing? What's the next idea? What's the next drop? What's new? Because it's so noisy out there, as you all know, you've got to keep creating. And everybody has the tools to do that.
Rule number 8, diversify.
What happens when you have $5 million?
You have set yourself free for the rest of your life. You have to understand that when you put that money into a watch, it has no yield other than capital appreciation. So if you have to decide what your lifestyle is going to be and what you need on an after-tax basis, and buy dividend-paying stocks and bonds to provide for that. But you can also buy long-term assets, and I recommend watches as be one of those, just like gold. Some people like Bitcoin. I mean, there's all kinds of alternative asset classes. And when you think about the context of a portfolio, and I say the same thing, my mother taught me this. If I look at my stock portfolio, which is a huge part of my net worth, no more than 5% in any one stock, no more than 20% in any one sector. So I don't own more than 20% tech stocks. In my real estate portfolio, real estate's unique in the sense that some people let it become up to a third of their net worth, but that's also a heavy maintenance cost for all those buildings and condos you own. So you have to have balance and you need diversity, no different in the watch collection side of your business.
Rule number 9, build a team.
It's important to think when you're starting a business, if you're going to take that entrepreneurial route, that you need to build a team. Most successful companies are aggregations of teams where one person's skill set augments the others. In other words, what I've learned, and a lot of people think one person can do it all. You can't. Generally, people have something they're really, really good at, and they also have a huge deficit. And in my case, I love sales and marketing, but I hate logistics. I hate making widgets, but I can't have a business if I don't make widgets. So I had to find a great widget guy. And that kind of thing. And as it turned out, it was a woman. And so at the end of the day, you need a partner that can build that team. And so I would highly recommend, if you're going to start a business, you want to find somebody that you really like in terms of their skill set. Not that are a friend of yours, someone whose skill set's fantastic.
And number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is be a problem solver.
When you meet with people that can help you grow your career or get your objective done or help you with your mandate, think about it this way. Because this is advice I give to everybody that's trying to get a job or move up or even advance their own business. If you had 15 minutes with somebody you wanted to work with and you talk about yourself for those 15 minutes,
that's a mistake. What you should be talking about is how you can solve problems for them. All the hires in my companies and the people I hire within my own, venture capital firm and private equity firm are people that came to me with really short resumes, basically one line saying, I need to meet you because I'm going to solve some big problems for you and help you build your business a lot faster. That's it. I'm interested. I want to hear what you have to say. I don't care where you went to high school, what the name of your dog was. I couldn't care less. But if you've done some work and you can tell me how you can advance what I'm trying to do, you're hired, Kendall. And then I'll give you 6 months to go prove it. Do that all the time, and it really works. Think about that. Think about talking to people about how you can affect their outcome. I learned something years ago from a mentor named Jerry Patterson. I've had a lot of influences in my life, and I think mentorship becomes more valuable as time passes. You understand its value. It's lessons learned early. Jerry said to me once, Kevin, if things go well, a lot of stuff is going to be thrown at you. You're going to get a lot of noise. You're going to get a lot of criticism. You're going to get all kinds of stuff from every angle every day. And successful managers are able to focus on the goal and shut all the noise out. I mean, he was so right. And so what I try and do each day is to focus on 3 things I want to get done. And I've got a lot of different things going on, but each day there's 3 paramount things. And I don't listen to criticism. I don't care about it. I don't want to be crass. I don't listen to the noise because it's irrelevant towards getting your goal done. And when you achieve your goal, you're helping a lot of other people because you're building a business. That's what I do. I'm an investor. So, I get a lot of heat. I get a lot of criticism. People say you're a mean guy, all that stuff. I don't give a shit. So it just doesn't matter to me. So because of Jerry, he taught me that. You just forget about that because there's more important things that you should focus your energy on.
And congratulations, you're one video closer to who you're meant to be. Believe. For 10 more amazing rules from Robert Herjavec, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
As though there's this magic door you walk through.
Right.
And every day is puppy dogs, unicorns, and sunshine. What people don't see is the little dots